Hello and welcome to the daily conversation for the trades. I am your host, Christene Marie. And, as I was thinking about the topic for tonight, one of the things that really stood out to me was a recent conversation that I had with someone who is in roofing, and they received a contract and a proposal from a potential chief marketing officer. And they sent it to me. I was looking it over, and it was really, really remarkable what they outlined from most most owners and even operators' perspective. There's a lot of jargon in there. There's a lot of industry speak, but not trade industry, marketing industry speak. And so there was a lot of big words used. There's a lot of language that doesn't make a whole lot of sense for someone who doesn't understand the back end of kind of the technical side of marketing. And so, in one sense, how can they know whether it's a good fit or not? And, there's a $7,000 price tag on there for 20 hours. And, you know, they they're like, I guess this is good. This guy's been in marketing for 20 plus years. And one of the biggest reasons why they were considering this guy is because he says, I know the vendor that you want to work with. And it was a search agency that, for those of you who know, A1 Garage, Tommy Mello, he and I had a conversation a year or two ago, and he's just a brilliant guy. And in that company, that agency that helped him and was a vendor for him, I'm sure that that's their claim to fame. This roofing company's like, well, we want to use who Tommy Mello used. But the thing there that's dangerous is this guy comes and says, I can make an introduction. And because he has the ability to make an introduction, there's almost like a status. It's, I know the company that got Tommy Mello to where he is today. And of course, everyone's using kind of like a status symbol, and as they should, depending on the integrity of their involvement in getting Tommy to where he is today. However, the thing that made me really concerned was the cost and the very little bit of output this gentleman promised his company. 20 hours worth of work for $7,000. And even just yesterday, I was talking to a woman who, her son is in construction. He and his wife have a construction business. He was paying a coach $5,000 a month. And he's almost to the point of bankruptcy, and he defaulted on a loan and called this woman, and she was like, well, let me try to help get you out of this. So here's the thing. The reason why I wanted to talk about who we can trust in terms of vendors for the trades is because, from the outsider's perspective, it's almost like a praying party going on with people in the trades. I don't know if you guys have sensed this, but it's really bizarre. There's a lot of folks, and I think because AI is coming in and swooping up a lot of, I guess you could say, white collar jobs. It used to be the most profitable thing in the world for someone to be a computer engineer or computer scientist, to pursue one of those jobs, where frankly, desk job, computer job, and really pursuing technological advancements in software. Things are changing, and now it's like the eyes of the world are on the trades, in good ways, but also in really dangerous ways. It's not just the vendors. Who do I trust to be a vendor for my business? But we're seeing private equity come in. And I was serving as chief marketing officer for a company. They were at 34 million when I got involved. And throughout that time, they actually got acquired by private equity. And it was wild. The president of the company, I felt like I watched him visibly age before my eyes. This private equity firm just really came in and like ate alive the men and women who had worked so hard. It was built on family values. It was so integrous. It was so amazing what this company was. And then this private equity company came in, and just these people slowly were like dying from the inside out because relationships stopped mattering. Relationships and these values that had been the lifeblood of this business were replaced with numbers and KPIs. And so the reason why I wanted to talk about this tonight is because, how do we know who to trust? And That's a really, really hard question. And so I sat with this as I was preparing for this conversation, and three things came to mind. I have my handy dandy paper. Three things came to mind as I was preparing that I want to talk about with you. And just as I do, I just want to say hello to Jeff, Brian. It's good to see you, Elijah. Thank you for joining, guys. I want to talk first about alignment of values, because this is the probably the number one trust indicator, but also the thing that's going to keep you heading in the same direction. That's like the handshake and the holding of hands moving forward in the relationship. If you do not have alignment of values and you're fundamentally misaligned, it's like you're walking maybe in the same direction, but you're not actually connected. You're not actually joined together in the relationship intimacy that is necessary to make sure that you maintain alignment. You might start off going in the same direction, but if someone starts slightly going in another way, if you don't have the values connecting you, literally serving as kind of like that handshake and the handhold throughout the entire relationship, you're going to veer off course. And so the values really maintain the continuity, the alignment of the direction you're heading in the first place. And so that falls on you and me as the owner or even just operator of the business to even know who we are well enough to then define values that are strong enough to demarcate us and say, that's not a value aligned partner. That is not a value aligned employee. And it's painful. It's painful because a lot of times we actually have to say no to business. We have to say no to opportunities that have revenue dollars attached to it. But I will say from experience, it is more expensive to enter a misaligned values relationship than to say no at the outset. You're saving yourself a lot of not just revenue dollars, but a lot of emotional and mental energy. And you're potentially even sparing your team. Because here's the reality is that it's not just a partnership that you're engaging in. If you're hiring a vendor that's working with a sales department, or you're hiring a vendor that's working with a call center, man, your people are the ones on the front of the line. And so who are you putting your team in front of and in relationship with? So the values are so incredibly important. And it's even worth, I was talking with another trades business who's a client of ours, and we're really excited about a new technology partner that we're bringing in. But they were looking to me to say, hey, can you get on and vet this company? Because he's like, it sounds like a great idea, but I need you to come in and make sure that this tech and the software is sound. And so we need each other to not just vet in terms of like the relational values, but also the value of the product itself that they're offering. This is why, this roofing company sent me the proposal to say, hey, would you look at this? Is this actually a friend of mine? That she called me the other day and she said, hey, we want to work with somebody to do branding. And the thing that I love, y'all, is that it's not just it. If you have a specialty in a service, offer it in by way of consultation, just for your friends. Like I know everyone's just trying to make a buck these days, and I know that that's important, but it actually was really cool to me that my best friend could call me and say, hey, we want to use this person for branding, and we're not going to use you. And I kind of loved that, because honestly, it makes sure that our friendship can remain intact. God forbid anything goes wrong. I can give all of the advice in the world, and our relationship's going to remain intact. And so use the support of people close to you who know about either the software or the industry, who can help you really think outside the box. Because yes, it's a values alignment of the business itself and like who the people are, but also the alignment of the product and the quality of that as well. Is this actually a really good deal for you? Because when I was looking at this proposal, man, steer clear. I told them, I was like, you guys are paying attorney lawyer fees with what this guy's offering, and the outcomes that he's delivering for you are very, very basic. So either get your business to a point where it actually is worth hiring somebody that expensive, then his outcomes are matching his pay grade, or don't use him ever, but to pay somebody that kind of fee to do very, very basic integration. If you're just getting started in the marketing side, you don't need to be paying six figures for somebody. Okay. Next is, so values alignment. That's number one. Second is the quality of their questions. What is their actual process? And y'all, this is as I was looking at this proposal from this roofing company, that was one of the biggest things that stood out to me was there was no process of how he was going to do anything that he said he was going to do. Now, a friend of mine countered me here and he said, "Well, you don't want to do too much work ahead of time before you land the job." And I was like, "Okay, fair." But you can have a process of, step 1, step 2, step 3. And when I'm talking about process, I'm talking about the process to get to know your business and make sure that the outcomes they're saying they'll get for you are actually what's right and good for your business. Because if you and I aren't working with vendors who are doing the work to treat us with the integrity of, okay, that was my alarm going off. If we're not working with vendors who are taking the time to know us individually as a business and we're just in their lump category of businesses that they serve, there's no way we're going to get the personalized support that we need to get to that next level in our business. Sure, maybe we'll grow, but having somebody be so laser focused on you where they're like, I'm going to really do the work to understand what have you tried before, what's failed, what's worked, where have you invested dollars that didn't return and yield anything? And where haven't you explored? Where's the new frontier for you? And what would it look like for us to advance to that area? Do you even have the back end support in place so that you can even gauge the data and the return on what I'm going to be bringing you? Do we even have the infrastructure in place? So there's a whole quality of questions analysis effectively that I'd love for every single owner and operator to be considering. Are they asking me good questions? And y'all, a way to do this, a way to do this is to record the conversation with the vendor, take the transcript, put it into ChatGPT or Claude or another AI tool and say, hey, this is a vendor that I'm potentially going to work with. What are the quality of the questions? How would you rank them? Are they going to do a good job for me? And also, here's another thing, ask it to grade you. Were you clear? Because here's another thing that this is a looking in the mirror moment. Are we actually saying what we want and what we need as business owners? Do we even know in the first place? And sometimes we don't. This is why we need, vendors to come in with their expertise. But if we're not clear on where we want to go, if we're like, well, maybe we'll sell, maybe we'll scale, maybe we'll have it succeed, the business succeed down generations, that's going to be really hard for somebody to come in, especially if they're on the branding and marketing side, because the way that you position the company, if it's for succession and you want this to be a family business for generations to come, like my family 100-year-old businesses, versus we want to prepare this business for sale, for selling it, that's a big difference in the way you operate the business and the way you talk about the business. And so those business decisions are really important for us to have in mind as we're going and talking with these vendors, especially on the branding and marketing side. And then the third and final thing, what is the transformation? And I love this conversation because the transformation is the most exciting part. It is like, it's so fun. This is where I like nerd out over, this is how we're really going to be able to get you from A to B. But if they don't have clarity on the transformation, if you're not clear on what they're going to come in and do to really flip or change things, then they may not be a good fit for you. So it's, where are we starting at today? And this is where the quality of their questions, do they do a good job assessing and knowing where you're starting from? And then the output, what are they really going to do for you? And y'all, I got to tell you, this whole, I'm going to show you a calculator of, if you put this many ad dollars in, we'll get you this many, folks coming out and this many leads. That's what a lot of agencies do. So that's not a differentiator between the ad companies. The questions that you want asked of you are, how are you guys capturing data? Do you have a way to track the customer lead journey? Because it's not just the quality of the lead, but it's, are they turning into an appointment? Are they turning into a paid customer? What is the actual net of that customer? And maybe you're not going to show them your books, but that's a really, really important question, because when I got involved with a particular business, their net had been declining year over year. And that's the take home money. That's the money that private equity looks at and any business if they're looking to do a sale. So your net is very different than gross. And so it's working with people that are asking the intelligent questions to help you think. God bless partners and vendors who come in and really truly help, it's like, man, I can't think of everything by myself. So it's a relief. There's a relief that we're supposed to feel. The transformation in the business, yes, but also the transformation on the emotional side. Vendors and partners should bring relief to you about the state of your business and the growth that you're going to experience as a result of working with them. So, with that, thank you all so much for joining tonight. I will see you tomorrow on Conversations for the Trades. And